Hey, it's Jeff with Treeline Sports. Welcome back to this edition of Milsurp Rifle. And today we're going to be discussing the 303 British rifle. Specifically, I have a collection here of 4 different British rifles that were manufactured during World War II. 3 of which are a number 4 Mark I, and one of which was a number 4 Mark II, which was actually produced after the war for an Irish contract. This particular rifle that I'm discussing is in practically brand new condition. What I would say, if you guys are interested in these old Milsurp rifles, number 1, don't hesitate. If you see one at a gun show or at a gun shop somewhere and it's on the rack, purchase it. Don't worry about the price. They're only going to go up in value, and I'm sure the dealer is going to be more than fair with you. The second thing I would mention to you, get it checked out by a gunsmith before you take it to the range. Always good to know that the gun is going to function properly and you won't have any mishaps or potentially anybody getting hurt. So with that being said, let's go into what we're going to be talking about. So briefly, we're going to discuss exactly what the 303 is. The 303 British rifle. Today we're going to be shooting the PPU, Privy Partisan round. This particular round is a 174 grain boat tail round. The actual dimensions on the 303 is 7.7 by 56R. Now the R stands for rimmed cartridge. What you will find in modern ammo, I'll try and bring this up to the camera, you'll see that the rim is just squared off. Now during the war, the British troops would have carried a cartridge that would have had a slight taper here, and that would avoid what they call rim jam. But if you load your magazines properly and you keep them staggered stacked, you virtually won't ever get a rim jam. I think I've had one come up once in the time I've been shooting these type of rifles, and it is extremely rare. But know that during the wartime, that would have been tapered, never would have happened. I am wearing a bandolier. Now this is an original bandolier. I can't say for sure if this was one that was provided to a British troop during the war, but I can tell you that the ammunition inside is on stripper clips. I'm not going to be firing this today because it is collectible, but interesting to note that the rifle can be speed loaded as well as magazine fed. The history will tell us that the 303 British rifle number 4 Mark I was the fastest bolt action of the day, and also carried more rounds than any other bolt action on the field of battle. Terrific round, extremely powerful. The case is actually a tapered case all the way up, unlike say the 30-06, which is straight and then goes to bottleneck. This case tapers all the way through, and that's to help with feeding. Even machine guns were chambered in this round. Obviously bolt action rifles, and you can go all the way back to say the SMLEs, all shot this particular round. Great round, very powerful, very effective on the battlefield, and fun to shoot here today. We're going to have a lot of fun shooting these guns. Yeah, we're going to shoot them all. Now, one thing I do want to point out, since we're talking about the guns that we're going to be shooting today, 2 of these guns were actually made by the United States. And what you can do, if you're curious to find one of these, this being one of them, you'll note on the side of this gun, on the receiver, it's stamped U.S. property. Now these guns were made for British troops by the United States, specifically Savage, I believe, had the contract. And during the time, the Brits just couldn't keep up with manufacturing. So we stepped in, we lent them these rifles, we had them built, and you can see right here, if you can read it, it'll say, you cut it back a little bit, it'll say U.S. property on it. So this gun was actually made in the United States. One thing you'll also find, a lot of the U.S. property rifles were 2 twist. You'll find these guns in 2 twist, 4 twist, and even 6 twist, which would have been more your sniper variant, a much more accurate twist than say a 2 twist. And what I'm referring to is the actual rifling in the muzzle. So when they rifled these out, you either had a 2-bore system or 2 lands that were created, and in some cases 6 lands were created. So great rifles, a lot of fun to shoot. let's give it a try, and thanks for tuning in. Remember, when shooting any firearm at the range, always important, have your safety glasses ready, have your ear protection, put them both on before you're ready to pull the trigger. Make sure you know what's behind you, as well as what the target's in front of you and what it's going to stop against. Don't want any mishaps. Never wrong to be too safe. Let's have some fun. Before we actually take this gun out and fire it, I do want to present to you some of the features of this firearm. Again, this is the number 4 Mark I. This particular rifle has what's called a ladder sight on it, or an elevator sight. And what this does is it allows the shooter to shoot accurately at a distance. By making adjustments using this, we can actually lift the rear sight up, allowing us to take a much further shot accurately. Now, not all of them have or are equipped with the ladder sight. Some just have a flip-up peep sight, which will be a much tighter circle of vision, and that'll allow you to be accurate as well. So ladder sights are great, but hey, if you're shooting at 100, 200, 300 yards, not a big deal. The other thing I do want to touch on is the safety on this gun. Now, we're going to go ahead and cock it. As you can see, the gun is empty, no round in the chamber. We go ahead and put it in the cock position. This lever right here is your safety. When we move this lever to the rear position, or towards the buttstock, or towards the shooter, we are now in a safe position. So gun is cocked. We have the safety all the way back, or in the safe position, and notice, gun will not fire. Now, I am going to dry fire it just for demonstration purposes. We're going to put our safety in the firing position, and now pull the trigger, and the gun would have went off had there been a round in it. So important that you learn, no matter what you're shooting, how to put it on safe, how the gun operates, as though you were in the shooting position. And that way, hey, nobody gets hurt. Thank you. Let's have some fun. Okay, so first I'm going to do some bench shooting. I just want to see how this particular rifle performs. This is one of the U.S. property rifles, and then I'm going to stand up and shoot it offhand. But if you want to see exactly where she's going, always a good idea to set up on a bench. As I said to you always, it's good to have a solid bench when doing this kind of work. You don't need anything fancy. A sandbag works great. This is a Bob Allen setup, not that expensive. We use it all the time. But anyway, let's see how she does. First, eyeglasses, ears. One round at a time. Shot group. Well, not too bad for the old USA. So here we are, 3-shot group, iron sights. It was benched, 100 yards. Very respectable. I've done worse than that with a scope. Not bad. Anyway, let's see what else we can do with this gun. Let's see what it does to a spray can. Alright. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use the bench. See if I can hit that spray can from here. Always eyeglasses, earmuffs. Let's get some. see what the other USA property does. One round at a time. I'll put my safety glasses on first. And my earmuffs. Out in the chamber, going hot. Let's get some. Tighter yet. 3-shot group right at the top. Now, one thing, we're shooting a milsurp rifle, you'll tend to shoot high, especially at short yardage. 100 yards is short yardage for a milsurp gun. These guns, remember, these guns were designed to shoot over 1,000 yards on the battlefield. There are ways you can get it zeroed in for 100, but in all honesty, that's fantastic. Very good shooting. Wasn't me, it's the gun. USA. Here's an interesting historical fact. The British would have what was called the Mad Minute. And this was trained rifle shooter at 300 rounds, 300 yards, could hit his target 30 times in 1 minute. Now, unfortunately, I have neither of those things. Thanks to COVID, I don't have 30 rounds today. It's almost impossible to get 30 rounds of British ammo. And I don't have a 300 yard distance, and I got to tell you, 300 yards with iron sights, if you haven't tried it, is tough. It's a really tiny target. That is quite a feat to have a rifleman be able to hit his target at 300 yards 30 times in a minute with a bolt action rifle. Absolutely incredible. Hats off to the British military for being able to perform that feat. And like I said, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to try that. I would love to try that for you guys today. But can't do it. I've got 5 rounds left. I'm going to offshoot them just so you can see how this rifle reacts in an offhand position, and I hope you enjoyed watching. Have a great day.